Hello everyone! Thank you for visiting our channel. Have you ever experienced such life stories? Dylan and Emily had been together for 3 years. After their wedding, they moved into Dylan's parents' old apartment. For a while, Dylan's parents rented out the apartment, but then they decided to give it to their son as a gift. Dylan worked at a car dealership, while Emily worked as an administrator at a private dental clinic. Their relationship flowed fairly smoothly, without any major arguments. However, over time, Emily began to display unexpected aspects of her character. She used to assure her husband that she loved her job and the fact that she could earn her own money rather than just sitting idle at home. But now, she increasingly expressed her tiredness from dealing with people. Occasionally, she mentioned friends whose husbands allowed them not to work because they could provide for the entire family. Dylan, of course, understood where she was heading, but he didn't have the means to support both of them financially. He eagerly awaited a raise at his job. Recently, he had a conversation with his boss, requesting an increase in his salary. They told him they would consider it and give him an answer soon. On the day they agreed to have another conversation with the boss, Dylan was disappointed. They told him that the company couldn't currently revise his salary. He returned home in a bad mood that evening, knowing he had to tell his wife about the conversation. Emily seemed to be more upset about the boss's decision than Dylan himself. As expected, she was deeply disappointed. At first, she was even angry. She had counted on her husband's promotion because it would bring her closer to a higher standard of living, if not complete financial freedom. That day, she blamed her husband for not being assertive enough and didn't speak to him for the rest of the evening. About a week passed. Emily let go of some of her anger and grievances, and one day she told Dylan that she had decided to take on more shifts at work this month. Her colleague was going on vacation, and she had wanted to buy a new phone for herself for a long time. It was the perfect opportunity to earn some extra money. Dylan didn't argue with his wife. He simply took note of her words and understood the clear hint. She had been longing for gifts from him. The hint was clear, and he even began to consider how much money he needed to save and in what time frame to buy her the new phone as a gift. A month had already passed, and Emily took on more shifts, but her colleague still hadn't returned from vacation. Every evening, Dylan wanted to ask her if everything was okay with her coworker, but by the time he got home, he was too exhausted, and the question slipped his mind. One weekend, Dylan woke up quite early. Emily wasn't home. She had gone to work. He slowly made his way to the kitchen to brew himself some coffee, but an unexpected phone call interrupted him. It was from his close friend. "Hey, are you awake already? Let's meet up," his friend said with concern in his voice. It must be something serious. Dylan couldn't remember his friend ever calling him this early. They met at a cafe, and Dylan only managed to order breakfast because he hadn't even had a chance to eat at home. "Do you remember Andrew?" his friend started. "He recently went to get veneers, and that's not a cheap pleasure, as you can imagine." "Well, maybe he can afford it. He owns several hotels," Dylan replied. "But why did you call me?" "To talk about his new teeth," he chuckled. "Let me explain. The thing is, he went to the clinic where your Emily works. And after the visit, she apparently saved his number and started texting him from her personal number. He wanted to boast to me about the beauty from the clinic who's hitting on him. I found out the name of the clinic, and everything became clear." Dylan lost his appetite at that very moment. He cautiously asked what exactly his wife had been writing to their mutual friend. His friend told him that she openly flirted with him and tried to arrange a date. They even met once as if by chance, but nothing serious happened. They just chatted. However, her plans seemed to go far beyond that. Dylan asked for Andrew's number and called him the same day. They discussed the situation, and Dylan asked for details about their meeting. It turned out that she had seen him on one of the days when she supposedly had an extra shift. Perhaps her colleague hadn't gone on vacation at all. Emily was simply creating an alibi to freely meet other men. Dylan asked his friend to arrange a date with Emily during one of her extra shifts to make everything clear. It wouldn't be just a meeting for a conversation. It would be a real romantic date, possibly with continuation. And he would take care of the continuation himself. When Andrew found out that Dylan's wife had been flirting with him, he was initially taken aback and didn't want to be involved in the whole operation. But then he thought about it and decided that his friend needed help to finally understand the situation. On the appointed day, Andrew met Emily at a restaurant, while Dylan waited nearby on the street. They engaged in a pleasant conversation, and just as Emily started openly flirting with Gregory, holding his hand and hinting at continuing the evening, the fake lover sent a message to Dylan, signaling that it was time. Dylan entered the restaurant and quickly approached their table. Emily didn't even have a chance to react. "How's work going, dear wife? Do you have an out-of-office shift today?" the husband sarcastically asked. Emily paled, staring blankly at her husband, and then lowered her gaze, trying to avoid his eyes. Andrew recounted all their conversations and added at the end, "And the rest you've seen for yourself." Dylan grabbed his wife's hand, urging her to stand up from the table, but she recoiled in fear. "I won't touch you. Let's go. Get your things and leave the apartment today," he said. Emily didn't resist. She knew their marriage had come to an end. At the beginning of the following week, Dylan visited her workplace to inform the director about how their administrator had organized a dating club for herself during working hours. When her colleague found out that Emily's husband had come, she revealed that it wasn't the first time Emily had done such things. Whenever she noticed a client with money, she would save his number and then try to start a relationship. Apparently, she was looking for more promising and well-off options. The testimonies of the two witnesses had their impact. Emily was fired from the clinic. She already had a small rented apartment, but being unemployed, she couldn't afford to continue paying for it. So she moved in with friends temporarily and started looking for a new job. Although she still had a list of potential admirers' numbers, none of them rushed to respond to the intrusive woman who was seeking a sponsor. Dylan soon filed for divorce and began living on his own. Thanks to this situation with his ex-wife, he learned his lesson and consciously screened his subsequent partners for their material interests. Fortunately, Andrew was also happy to assist him in this matter. That's the story from real life. Share your thoughts in the comments about this situation and the behavior of the spouses. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and be sure to like this video. It will greatly help promote the channel. Take care and have a wonderful day.